Hello, everybody. This is Camille. She's 6 months old now. Let me tell you guys the story about um, when I had her. But before I tell you that story, I'm gonna tell you guys about my complications. So during my pregnancy, the doctor was concerned because she said that my iron levels were really low. I I would always take vitamins, iron vitamins, and even though I would take them, my iron level was really low at the end of my pregnancy. So my doctor was concerned, and she told me that most likely I was gonna have to get a C-section. And she was also concerned for my life because she said that if I bled out too much, I could die, like from losing too much blood. So then, and I told them I wanted to have a vaginal delivery because I didn't want to have a C-section because it takes longer to heal, and I just didn't want to go through that. So I still kept asking if there was any way that I could get a vaginal delivery. Anyways, my doctor consulted the hospital I was going to deliver at, and they ended up saying that I could try a vaginal delivery, but I had to have two IVs in case I lose too much blood, so they could give me enough fluids in time. Anyways, now to uh, when it came to having Camille, I had to be induced. I was already 40 weeks, and there was no sign of her coming anytime soon. Like, she was so stubborn. Anyway, so I had to be induced. I got induced, what was it? I think it was like not September, August 27th. It was of 2018. Anyways, so me and my boyfriend, we went, and I thought it was going to be quick. Boy, was I wrong. So I got there. Uh, I checked in. Um, we went to the room that I was gonna have her at, and I got dressed. Uh, she's making noises. She's 6 months old now. But anyways, I got dressed, and then the nurse told me that they were gonna take my vitals, and so they took my vitals, and then they had to check me down there and um, to see if I even dilated at all. And I was not dilated at all, so they told me they couldn't give me, what's that name, potassium or something. Starts with a P, but it's to make the contractions come. Pitocin. It was pitocin, yeah. Anyways, so since I was not dilated at all, the nurse decided to give me this one pill. It was misoprostol, to soften my cervix. So I took it, and then she took her vitals, and I ate some breakfast, and then actually, before I ate some breakfast, after she took my vitals, I ended up getting my IVs. Now, at first they gave me one, and I didn't want to tell them that I had to get two because it was so painful. Like my hand, like the needle's huge. No one tells you that they stick a huge needle on your hand to put the IV on you. No one told me that part, and it was painful. Anyways, so I got my IV on my hand, and then I ended up eating breakfast, and then they ended up telling me that I had to get another IV on my other hand, and so I got the other IV. Anyway, so I was waiting for my cervix to soften. They ended up giving me another misoprostol because it's still, my cervix wasn't soft enough yet, so they gave it to me, and then I had to wait a little bit. And then me and my boyfriend, we were a little bit bored because we were at the hospital all day. We got there at 8 in the morning, and it was already like 6 p.m. So I told Brandon, I'm bored. I wanna walk around. I gotta do something. I can't just be laying in bed. Anyway, so he ended up taking me outside. We ended up walking around because he told me that maybe if I walked around, that would like bring the contractions in or something. Anyways, we ended up walking around, and when we came back in, we ended up getting in trouble because it turns out I couldn't leave the room. Like, we got in trouble for that, but I had no idea because they didn't tell me the rules. Anyways, at 7, I got a new nurse, and oh my gosh, she was so helpful. Like, she made sure that I was comfortable. Like, she would bring me ice water, like anything I would ask for, she would bring. I and she also encouraged me. Um, Come here, we'll knock it off. Anyways, and then um, they ended up giving me pitocin at the end, um, because they said like my cervix was soft enough. Like, they checked me and then they said it was soft enough. Anyway, so they gave me pitocin. At first they started like really low, and then they started like going higher and higher. Anyways, um, I remember falling asleep. Like, I went to asleep like after they put in the catheter on me too. They put a catheter in me, and that was nice because I didn't have to keep getting up to go pee. Like, the bed, they like had it like really low, and I'm short, so, and I had a huge belly, so that was kind of hard to go back and forth. But I was so thankful when they put the catheter inside of me. Anyways, I ended up falling asleep, and Brandon did too, and then I woke up, and I was I would say that my mom, she came over, and anyways, I was kind of in pain. I was like, "Oh, this kind of hurts," but um, they ended up offering me this one balloon. They call it the peanut balloon. I don't know. It's weird, but they had like put it between my legs because supposedly that was gonna help. But yeah, my contractions were still not there. So me and Brandon were like, oh my god, this is boring. So, but then the nurse, she ended up letting us like walk around. The nurse that I had like outside, so that was nice. So we ended up going outside to get our minds off things, and then we went back inside, and then they checked me again, and it turns out that I started dilating. I was at 1.5 centimeters. 1.5 the next day. And so it was another long day at the hospital waiting for me to dilate, and my mom was there. She was actually there. I told my mom I I told my mom I needed her to be there. Cuz I was afraid for Camille to come, and I was a little bit nervous, and I didn't know how I was going to handle it. Anyways, so I remember that night they had me sleep with the peanut balloon between my legs, and I went I went to sleep, and when I woke up I was in so much pain. I was like, "Oh my god, this fucking hurts." And they ended up checking me. I was at 8 centimeters, and I was, well, no, actually I was at 5 centimeters. What am I talking about? I was, because the pain wasn't, I mean, it was bad, but it wasn't like as much as I experienced when I got to 8 centimeters. But anyways, I was at 5 centimeters, and I told the doctor I wanted to get the epidural because I I thought that I was gonna like dilate really fast, and I was just afraid that I was gonna feel everything. I just didn't want to feel everything, so I told the doctor that I was ready for the epidural. So anyways, I had my mom, and like, I held on to my mom when they gave me the epidural. I was nervous because they said like you can't move, and I was like as still as possible. Anyway, so I ended up getting the epidural at 5 centimeters, and I was like, okay. I was like, this is nice. I cannot feel anything. I didn't feel the mild contractions. It was nice. And my mom was there, my boyfriend was there. Like, we spent the whole day there, but we spent another day there. Anyways, when I woke up, I after I fell asleep with the big balloon in my legs, between my legs. I was in so much pain, and they checked me, and I was at 8 centimeters, and we were all happy. We're like, oh, finally at 8 centimeters, but I was so much pain. Like the epidural did not help. Like it did not help at all. I felt everything, and I was like, what the fuck? I was like, this shit doesn't work. And so they wanted to give me the epidural again, but I didn't want it because they told me that I had to go, I had to lay, what was it? I had to like sit down and I had to sit still. Shh, Camille. But at this point, I was in so much pain. I knew I couldn't. So, anyways, it was I was screaming in pain. It was so painful. I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna die. Like I told my mom, that I felt like I was gonna die because I just couldn't deal with the pain anymore. It was terrible. And even though I was like freaking out, like they would check Camille's heart rate and they said she was completely normal. Like her heart rate was fine. Like she was not freaking out at all in my belly. Because they say that sometimes babies like they start like freaking out and stuff. But anyways, so I was in so much pain, and then the doctor said at this point, like since I stopped dilating at 8 centimeters and I wasn't getting any further, and I just couldn't handle getting another epidural, they were gonna have me get an emergency C-section. So I ended up having to wait though. Like I already had signed the consent. The doctor was like, if you get an epidural, if you get a C-section, you're not gonna bond with your baby as much. And I was like, I don't care. At this point, I just want you guys to put me to sleep. But I had to wait for there to be an available room to operate me, and I was in so much fucking pain. I just felt like I was gonna die. It was terrible. Anyways, so they I was screaming in pain. I was like, I just couldn't handle it. Like they made my boyfriend and my mom step out of the room because they wanted to talk to me. And the doctor told me that she couldn't get me in the surgery room right away because they had to wait for a room to be available for me. And I just told them I just wanted her to put me to sleep. I was in so much fucking pain, you know. I just couldn't handle it anymore. Anyways, and my mom and my boyfriend, they were really sad and they started crying because they saw me suffering. Anyways, they ended up taking me into the emergency room. And when I got into the operating room, they didn't put me to sleep right away. I thought they would, but I would say that it kind of took me like 10 minutes to fall asleep, to a deep sleep. Anyways, I ended up falling asleep. It was 1 o'clock when I got into the operating room, and my boyfriend and my mom, they ended up going to a bar, you know, to drink because they were like kind of stressed out seeing me freaking out. Anyways, so I was asleep, and then Camille ended up being born at 2:30 p.m. and my dad, sorry, not my dad. What am I saying? My boyfriend and my mom, they ended up coming back, and they were told that Camille was born. So, my boyfriend, he wanted to hold her right away, and my mom they were so happy, and um, I was knocked out. So I was sleeping from 1 p.m. to, I didn't wake up till 7 p.m. that day. So, and it was so hard to wake up because I was knocked out. So every time I would open my eyes, like I felt them like super heavy. Like I saw Camille, and I heard the my doctor say, "Oh, your baby was 8 pounds and 5 ounces." Like I heard that part, and I saw my boyfriend holding Camille. Like I only saw them for like 2 seconds. And then I ended up falling asleep again because my eyes were so heavy I couldn't wake up. And then I woke up another time, and I saw my mom holding Camille, and I went back to sleep like after 3 seconds, and then it continued like 3 times until I finally woke up. Anyways, Camille. Shh. Anyways, so I finally got to see Camille, and then we went back to the room that I was gonna stay at, and then my dad and some of my siblings came to see Camille, and not long after they left, I ended up having really like a painful pains. Like it was so painful. It's hard to describe how painful it is. Like, I don't know. I felt like they were cutting me open. Like, that's how painful it was. I don't know. Anyways, I ended up having huge blood clots coming out of me. They were like the size of basketballs. And they like rushed me back into the emergency room again, because they were freaking out because I was losing a lot more blood, and they already knew that I couldn't lose that much blood anyways. So they took me back into the emergency room, and then I woke up again, and they took me back to the room that I was in. They gave me more painkillers, and then and was so weak because I had already lost a lot of blood, and they wanted me to try to like breastfeed Camille. I couldn't because I had like not I didn't have enough blood, and I felt like I couldn't do anything. Like I felt a little bit, I felt awful because I couldn't get up like a normal mom to like hold Camille or like change her diaper or feed her. My boyfriend, he had to do it. And then during while I was at the hospital, like I ended up like having painful coughs, and like I would feel like I was gonna choke. Like it was terrible, and and coughing was painful because I had a C-section. So that cut. Oh my god, it was so painful. Anyways, so yeah, it was, and then there was this one nurse that was kind of rude. She told me, "You need so much help. How do we know that you're gonna be able to take care of your daughter when you get home?" And I'm like, I obviously need a lot of help right now because I'm in so much pain, and I just had a C-section. Like it was the same day I had a C-section, so obviously. Anyways, my boyfriend, he was there for me the whole time, but then he ended up having to go to work like 3 days after Camille was born, and I was still at the hospital. They didn't want me to go home because they were concerned about my blood pressure. My blood pressure was like really high, and they were also concerned because I was like low on blood. So they ended up giving me 2 blood transfusions, and that kind of, I felt like after my 2 blood transfusions, that brought my energy back. Like I was able to get out of bed for the first time, and I felt really good about it. I just wanted to get up because I wanted to go home. I didn't want to be at the hospital anymore. I wanted to go home and take care of my little one. And so anyways, I ended up going home, and Camille liked my house better because at the hospital she would freak out every time they would change her diaper. But here she was so calm. Anyways, that is my story about having Camille, and that was my experience. And I do want to let you guys that I don't ever want to have another kid again because that was the most painful thing ever. And I also don't want to risk dying if I have another kid because I had a terrible experience. And I'm still a little bit traumatized. Anyways, I hope you guys like my story, and I hope you subscribe to my channel. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye. Say bye, Camille. Camille, say bye. Bye.